Hey, my friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Allie Wilkins. If it's your first time here, I'm so happy that you're here. And I really hope that you enjoy this video and my channel in general. If you're back, welcome back. So if you're new to me, like I said, my name's Allie, and I am a channel and I work in the Akashic Records as well as in direct mentorship with my clients to support people and really bringing their soul blueprint to life. And so often we need to have additional messages from our guides, from our higher self, from energies outside of us that can see things from a much grander perspective. And it helps us to speed things up. It helps us to stop, to not get stuck in little things that keep us snagged for too long. And so all of my work is really around bringing us back into our primordial essence and allowing us to live a life that, first of all, is unconventional in today's day and age, because our society is a system of enslavement. And we are so much more than that. And it's time that we rise above that. So all of my work is designed to support you in, first of all, understanding your soul blueprint, and then bringing that to life in your life, and really designing your entire life around this. So we're going to do something new today. So I can already, you'll see me in a lot of my videos, I start circling like this. This is when I start channeling, and I was just about to start doing it. We're going to do something new today. And what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is start channeling the Pleiadians. And the Pleiadians have been, first of all, I'm a Pleiadian Starseed. That's, I believe, where my origins come from. The Pleiades is a star system that brought beings into planet Earth a long, long, long time ago. And so many of you have heard of this place called Lemuria. I'm going to channel from the Pleiadians the messages that I think are really potent right now, because Lemuria and Atlantis are coming up so strongly in the field for so many of us. And if you're watching this video, it might be your first time hearing about Lemuria, or you might for years have been receiving information and wisdom from Lemuria itself, from the planet Mu, from Pleiades, Pleiadians, from other star systems. And so this isn't like new for you. I know for myself, I heard about / remembered / my soul attracted me to Lemuria probably 4 or 5 years ago. And since then, I've slowly been getting memories and pieces of remembrance. But in the last couple of months, really in the last month itself, there's been so much coming through, so much more memory. And so it's just really potent in the field right now. So I wanted to just channel the Pleiadians directly, and we're going to see how this goes, because I've never done this on a YouTube video before. And based on how you guys like this, if you really like it, let me know by engaging in the video, and I'll keep channeling the Pleiadians. The first thing that I'm hearing is to talk about the energy of the Pleiades. So the energy of Pleiadians is basically loving compassion, and their energy is like what I want you to think about in relation to Lemuria specifically, and who we were as beings in Lemuria. We were completely open. We were completely heart-centered. There was no ego, really. There was no competition. We were in divine alignment with all parts of the earth. So you could consider like this time period, you could think about it compared to our society now, as if companies, if Pepsi and if Target and if all of the largest companies in the world of Disney was considering how every single product that they release, every single service that they offer, is this in the highest good for all? So no, creating aluminum cans that I don't know how long they take to dissolve, but probably a long time, having aluminum cans in the ocean isn't preferable. That's not of the highest good for animals, for the waters, for humans who are drinking from aluminum cans. Aluminum is not good for our bodies. If in Lemuria, every single thing that was created with the mindset of, is this in harmony with all of life? Is this in harmony with life so that nothing is harmed in the creation of this? And this was like effortless. So in our time in Lemuria, the energetic frequency was so different. So what is said and what I've felt about my lifetimes in Lemuria is that we came to planet Earth sort of as an experiment. And I'm not going to go into that aspect of it. That's a different subject. But we came to planet Earth, and really we were trying to feel into if we could, how much of spirit we could bring into a dense physical body. And so something that the Lemurians didn't really, what's the word I want to use here? They didn't accomplish in their time, and we're doing now in our time, is how can we hold spirituality in the physical body? So the physical body is dense. It creates a lot of like resistance, and it creates, the physical body is beautiful. I love you, body. But also it is heavy. It weighs things down. And so Lemurians and Pleiadians in general were used to much higher frequencies. So they would be kind of like, they wouldn't really be in their body a lot of the time. And it was hard for them to keep their spirituality in the body because it just felt so much better to be out of the body. It felt so much lighter in frequency. So what we are doing here currently on the planet is learning how to balance both of those. And so if you're an energetic being, you have very likely struggled with this. It's very challenging to be a sensitive, energetic being. Oh my God, I'm having so much ear ringing. It's very challenging to be a sensitive, energetic being and keep yourself grounded. It's a practice that we have to do every single day in so many moments of the day, especially like everybody's gifts are so different. But if you're someone who's like traveling out into the astral realms and working with galactic frequencies and things like that, or like me, I'm going into people's soul records, going into other people's energy and spending major time in that frequency, it is so important to keep ourselves grounded and to learn how to stay in our body. And so the Lemurians, during their time, had a hard time staying in the body. And so they didn't necessarily accomplish one of their goals, which was to merge spirit and human together. Okay, I'm just going to ask my guides, what are you wanting me to share now about what's present here in our current time continuum? Okay, so they're wanting me to speak about their presence right now. Okay, so Lemuria and Atlantis. First of all, let's just talk about what Lemuria is. You probably know if you're watching this far into the video, but probably should have started with this. But Lemuria is an ancient civilization that was really around the time of the Golden Age and so much further back. So if you think about what we've learned in school, we've learned that human life doesn't go back that far, right? Maybe like 20,000 years, or maybe there's fossils and stuff that's found like 50,000 years ago, but we consider those beings just like, we don't consider them at our consciousness at all. We consider them sort of, it's like the ape man that you see in the picture that evolves, but is just like eating and that's it. And he's like grunting, there's not words, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. Those beings did exist, and the Lemurians actually, both of these energies lived on the planet at the same time, and Lemurians came in and taught them a lot of things and brought them different technologies because they were evolved from different strains of DNA. And that's what I was talking about with the experimentation and things like that. So now we're much more close to that, the image we have of the ape man who's sort of unevolved. And of course, our consciousness is in general higher, but it's not close to what the Lemurians were. So anyways, Lemuria was an ancient civilization, just like Atlantis was. Lemuria was featured more in the Pacific. You could just think about like the Pacific Ocean. People say that it extends from about where Hawaii is now, and even some of the west coast of South America, all the way to the west part of like the Philippines and Indonesia. When I was drawn to Bali in 2015, and I felt the spirit of Lemuria, and I didn't have the name for it or the words for it at the time, but Balinese people embody far more than like other people on our planet right now. And I haven't traveled everywhere, so I can't say that this is like the one place, but Balinese people have such a loving, compassionate heart, and they're so joyful, and they really carry that energy of Lemuria. So I definitely believe that it extended into Indonesia as well. Whereas Atlantis was more where the Atlantic Ocean is now. But also we have to remember, like, the continents have moved around. Remember, like in history class, I think it was called like Pangea, where all the continents were together. So there's also been shifting of the continents. But Atlantis was centered more around like the base of Florida all the way up. I'm not sure exactly how far it went up, but out at least to like Egypt area, and probably a little bit more north of that, like into Greece. So these are large pieces of land that are said to have sunken into the ground. Both civilizations flooded, but from different reasons. And Lemuria sort of phased out before Atlantis did. Atlantis was more recent, and Atlantis also had more of a fall associated with it. It was the consciousness wasn't as high, and the human ego started to come more into form with Atlantis. Atlantis is what we are experiencing the karma from Atlantis now in our current society. And you can see this with everything that was coming out with COVID, the things that people were asked to take in order to keep themselves and other people safe, that weren't tested for very long at all before everybody was lining up to get these. And a group of people were like, hard no, I'm not going to trust this, blah, blah, blah. All of that is remembrance from Atlantis, where they experimented on Lemurians. They experimented on people who were spiritually highly conscious spiritually, and had really high frequencies and had powerful gifts. And I really believe this isn't to be like, you're so low consciousness. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I really believe that those of us who didn't want to get that thing that we were being told we had to get, that was mandatory, and in order to travel you had to have this thing and blah blah blah, I really believe that those of us who inherently knew, nope, that's not it, I'm not going to be doing that, we remember what happened in those times. I know for me, in another lifetime, I was experimented on, and so we have this trauma in our body that makes us very weary of authority figures. And so Lemuria, when I feel into my lifetimes in Lemuria, and you feel into this as well for you, because my experience is just my experience. That doesn't mean it's the truth. That's just what I feel. My experience of Lemuria is one that feels like absolute heaven. The consciousness is high. It's all love. There's peace and there's harmony and there's cooperation in a way that we cannot even fathom in today's society. When I feel into Atlantis, there are different aspects that feel that way, because Atlantis was still more spiritually conscious than we are today as a society. However, there was hunger for power that started to emerge that kind of like ruined the whole thing. And then power over others and like not seeing humanity in all beings, like that started to emerge. That created the fall of Atlantis. So there's a lot of other things like you can do. There's so many books and shows, especially like on Gaia. There's so many things you can specifically learn about both of those civilizations. But it's coming up right now in our awareness, one, because we are at a pivotal time in we're moving into a new age, which everybody watching this already knows. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, but also in the next few years, we are in a state right now where we are redesigning our systems and determining what's going to happen in our world. I'm not going to say this exactly right because I'm not an astrologer, but in 2027, a lot of astrologers astrologers are talking about how there's a sort of fall of, I'm not going to say like a fall of governments, because I don't know that it's going to happen just that quick, but there's a fall of a lot of systems where they just don't have the same power that they used to, because as humanity, we are coming into awareness of what are the systems that support us. Like, I'm tired of a healthcare system that doesn't support everybody, that costs $5,000 a month for me to be able to get a free dentist cleaning. Like, but on a real note, we're redesigning our systems that run the whole world. And so this applies to every single human. And I know that for me, I've definitely felt this, where it's like, little old me, what am I going to do to change how the structures of the pharmaceutical industry work? How am I going to change how insurance companies work? How am I going to change how the government works? Like, what part can I possibly play other than voting, which is said to make a difference? And I'm not quite sure about that. But how can I actually impact any of this stuff? And it's applying it in your own life. First of all, I'm just hearing the Pleiadians sort of chiming in here. Like, in our own lives, how can we become the most loving and compassionate beings for the highest good of all? That doesn't mean that you're extremely nice and you let everybody walk all over you. It's how do you hold your sovereignty as a sovereign being, owning your royalty, claiming your royalty, and mastery of your energy, understanding that you are a creator. It's coming into unity consciousness individually. And so how the words that they love to use for us is, this is how they're saying it, is how can you be loving, compassionate individuals? Because that's going to create one of the biggest shifts for us, because we have such a separation-based society now. When we individually come into unity consciousness, it's just like this shit clicks in. This is also why we're seeing a lot of twin flames activating right now. And there's a lot of distortion around the twin flame community. There's a lot of distortion around it with people saying these are trauma bonds and these are this, that, and the other. Those are usually people who haven't experienced a true twin flame relationship. And what they're bringing in is that the twin flame, this group of people who is a part of this collective, because there's actually not that many twin flames in relation to what the 8 billion people we have on the planet. It's like a couple 100,000. It's not very many in comparison. And I'm just hearing them saying there's like millions of people who think that they have had this sort of experience. The whole point of them bringing this in is that separation consciousness into unity consciousness is literally what the twin flame experience teaches. And so this is a really fast track into ascension that a lot of people who are originally Pleiadian beings have chosen to incarnate into, and their souls chose this many, many, many eons ago, is what I'm hearing. But the journey for all of us here on Earth is from separation consciousness into unity consciousness. When we can do that on an internal basis, it naturally ripples out. And so one thing that we can be thinking about, so imagine that you go to work and you're doing something and you're just like, oh, I got bad sleep last night and I slept in my neck wrong. And like, I had to eat my egg burrito so fast. And like, you're kind of rushing into work and you're doing your work with that energy. Then imagine, or you're in a meeting. Let's talk about this. You're in a meeting at your workplace. Your morning did start out that way. You're in a meeting with all your coworkers and you're trying to create a solution. You're coming to the solution from that energy and just like, oh, meetings suck. I want to be out of here so I can go to lunch. And I want to be out of here so I can get home early because I want to do this thing or I want to watch this show or whatever. How would things shift if when you came into that meeting, you said, how can I create something here that is of the highest good for all, for myself, for every employee here, for animals, for the land, for the ocean, for the water, for our consciousness, for our spirituality. And so in Lemuria, there was a system in place to create this. So there would be stewards for each of these different areas that would be present at different meetings. So it'd kind of be like in the White House, if there was a treasure of the waters, if there was a treasure of the sacred land, if there was a treasure of citizens, if there was and treasure isn't the right word, chief of, there we go. Chief of all of those different things, chief of animal welfare. How do our decisions impact all of these different things? And so I've talked a million times in other videos about like, we vote with our dollar, all of that sort of thing. And how can we reward the companies who are acting in this way? And it might mean that we have to sacrifice in other places. For me to buy the honey that's in a glass jar that says raw and it's unpasteurized or whatever the phrase is, and it's not processed in any sort of way, and there's loving kindness and Reiki energy infused, that might be like a $35 bottle of honey, especially if it's Reiki infused. But even if you go to the store and you buy the glass jar because you don't want to be a part of all of the plastic. And I think about this all the time. Right now, I'm not drinking coffee, but all the coffee creamer that I've bought, all those plastic bottles, how many of those have I used in my lifetime? When I die, could I fill up my whole apartment with all of the plastic trash I've used? Anyways, I'm getting off topic, but thinking about how our actions and our decisions impact every area of life. What if you brought that into your workplace and you were the representative of that? Or you imagining that you're a leader of some sort and you say like, hey, Sally, I want you to showcase, I want you to be a representative of our customers. Danny, I want you to be a representative of our shareholders. Monica, I want you to be a representative for animal welfare. Becky, I'm thinking of like the lamest names. Sorry if that's your name. I want you to be a representative for this and that and this and that. And then everybody is having one area in mind. And can you imagine how much of a difference that would make? I used to work at Disney, and I'm just like that sort of, and we would have these sort of marketing meetings where it was more about digital marketing, but imagining if in the parks, how many people visit a park each day and how many of them are buying bottled water? What's the like, how could that be improved for all of the land, for our whole humanity? So anyway, they're telling me to cut that thought off because some of you, I'm losing some people of interest, but okay. So there's a real humanitarian effort, and this is a big reason why this remembrance is coming in so strongly, because we're moving into the age of humanitarianism. We have to remember this stuff. And how I'm being shown this is Lemuria is really the remembrance of source code. Lemuria is the remembrance of the divine design. Atlantis is the memory of the traumatic results from greed, from ego, from power, starting to have more power than the soul and more power than consciousness. And I talk all the time about the ages, the astrological ages of time. So the golden age, you could consider it being up here. We're down here now. And this is a circle of time, and it's arranged in the form of the zodiac. Each age is about 20, I think it's about 2,600 years. So you have the golden age up here, which is like 10,000 BC. This is actually when Lemuria is estimated to have flooded and the lands went underground, or deep underneath the ocean sea. And so then you come down here. This is where we start to enter the Kali Yuga. Reminder, we're right here now at the bottom, the flip side of the golden age, the mirror image of the golden age. Consciousness is falling as we're moving down this side of the circle. Then we have, we're moving through different ages here too, by the way, like the age of Cancer, the age, I can't remember them all because I don't have it right in front of me. But then we move down, like Jesus's time is the age of Pisces. Moses was before that, which I believe was the age of Aries, which is literally the age of like war and conquest, right? Then we move, so age of Aries, and then into age of Pisces, where Yeshua is sacrificed, and we come into the darkest age of all time. So we've been in the last 2,000 years in the age of Pisces. Now we're moving into the age of Aquarius, where we're at the bottom of this circle and we're moving upwards towards the next golden age. So theoretically, it should take about 10,000 years for us, or 12,000 years for us to get back up to the next golden age cycle. So this isn't happening overnight, but it means that we're rebuilding in consciousness. And if you're watching this video, if you're attracted to Lemuria specifically, or you remember Atlantis, or you're just drawn to these topics, you are one of the sort of founding members of the people who are bringing back that remembrance. Because sometimes we get so, I talk to my clients about this all the time, we get so enmeshed in our little groups and our soul tribe that we forget how the rest of the world is existing. And then sometimes we're like spending time with family, or you go back and see the people you went to high school with and you're like, whoa, this is a harsh energy. Like I'm used to living in this little bubble of like self-awareness and recognition and sovereignty and presence. And then we go out into these other places and it's like, whoa, this is not the reality of the vast majority of people. So if you're watching this video, you're definitely in that group of people who is going to be leading others into this age of higher consciousness and humanitarianism. And we are the ones who are going to be building these new systems, which for me, honestly, has been quite scary. that's been very scary to think about that sort of responsibility. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't like, how am I supposed to do that? Right. And we work together. There's this coherence and collaboration that will happen, but it also comes from us checking out of, first of all, I was going to say checking out of the matrix, but also the Pleiadians always remind me that the matrix is our mind. The matrix is our mind. And so if you think about, okay, I'm going to give you another visual image with my hands, so I hope you can understand this. So we have our physical body. So this is my physical body of the identity of Allie Wilkins. Then I have my astral body. Okay, so my astral body is around me. This is connecting my body and my soul. The astral body connects both of those, but the astral body is also holding all of the trauma from all of our lifetimes that has not been healed, that has not been cleared. It's holding all of our conditioning. It's holding all of our programming. And it's just, this is when we're doing energy healing and stuff, we're clearing the astral body. And then above that, or wider than that, you could say, is our soul. And our soul is the energy of Lemuria. Our soul is just pure consciousness, now moment I am. That's what we're returning to. How did I get on that from talking about how we're going to be rebuilding these systems? Oh, yeah. So what they were trying to share is basically, I just want to say this in the right way. In order for us to become the vessels who can be the people who create these new systems and have the energy channeled through, which caveat, it's not up to us as individual humans, as individual bodies to create these new systems. Like, there is help available. There's always been help available. There's always been help available. So a lot of that is a matter of us becoming clear enough, removing our programming and conditioning, removing all the junk that floats around in our mind, learning how to control our thoughts, and learning how to allow energies in. This is how you channel 101. You have to remove your mind. In my Akashic record readings, dude, sometimes the craziest things come out and I'm like, I just have to say it. If my mind gets in the way, it's like, don't say that. They're going to think you're a freak. Like, and it's moving our mind out of the way, learning how to become energetic conduits, learning how to become empty vessels. So a lot of these systems, it's not up to us as humans to fix them and to create them. We channel things through. Everybody knows how to channel. When you get an idea, you get an idea you're excited about, which could literally be like, oh, I want to go to Bali. You're channeling energy through you. But a lot of people think you have to have some like extreme psychic ability. We all have this. Everybody has specific gifts and specific mastery, but we all get ideas, and that is channeling. That's an idea coming through your vessel. So for us to build these different systems, we don't need to be ingenious to redo the whole insurance infrastructure. We just need to be open, and we need to learn how to align ourselves with the highest frequencies that we possibly can, learning how to hold our spirit and hold our soul within the body, learning how to operate. Okay, there's two things I'm hearing here. Learning how to operate from our soul rather than from our ego conditioning. This is a huge process that can take decades. But I am hearing like there's been a lot of acceleration. So there's a lot of people who are living from this now, but all of the people who are, and I'm just like including me, there's still so much stuff in that astral field for us to be cleansing out. Like, it does never end. Remember when I said the astrological ages of time, the golden age is up here. We're all the way down here. We're at the polar opposite, the mirror image. We have a lot of work to do. There's that much time, like probably a solid 6,000 years of shame, of trauma, of things that were just like, help, you know, when you like hold your breath when you're nervous, or if something's happening to you, like you might hold your breath. That's been the energy for like legit the last 3,000 years minimum. So we're cleansing all of that. We're cleansing for dozens and dozens and dozens of generations before us. So they're just saying, take off the pressure that you have to be the one to know how to change these systems and realize that every single moment of our life that we're operating from purity, purity isn't the right word they're saying, because we have like connotations of what that means from the church. Purity means living from your soul's essence. It doesn't mean that you're like a holy virgin who's never had sex with anyone, or never, like, all of that is BS. All of that is BS programming from the church. Purity means that you're in alignment with your soul, and you're not your unique soul expression of what you're here to be and how you chose to incarnate here. That's all we have to do. And then we'll be open vessels that will bring through the ideas. Also, we're going to be experiencing a huge amount of collaboration and community coming together in doing that. But at the same time, there's this individuation that all of us have our own unique gifts. And I'm just going to ask, can you clarify what it is you're saying here next? They're basically saying that like 99.979, that's the number I'm hearing, of people have no concept of that, because we think we're supposed to act in certain ways. We think we're supposed to be doing things. And even those of us who have identified like, here, okay, I'm doing what I'm here to do. I know that I'm doing what I'm here to do. I am on path. I know that. Even those of us who feel that, there's still nuanced pieces in there that's like just for example, in the coaching industry, it's like, you're supposed to market this way, and you're supposed to look this way, and you're supposed to offer things in this way. This is how the best way for people to pay you. This is the best way for you to offer your guide. Like, there's so many stupid little rules that have been created in any industry that you're in. And so our mission at this exact moment in time, this is specifically for the people who know that they're living their soul blueprint, but also for everyone else. You'll experience this in a different way. And we're going to go into that next, I'm hearing. So first, the people who are living their soul blueprint, how can you identify where you are unconsciously operating from systems that aren't in alignment with your unique soul blueprint? Because first it's like, oh, I'm wiping away the job that I'm only doing to make the money. These are like the big representations of that. So what I was just saying, for the people who maybe haven't found that yet, haven't aligned with that fully yet, or are like, I'm trying to find my purpose. Like, that's the first step when you're asking yourself those questions. That's a extremely important time where you're starting to signal to your soul, like, hey, can you share more of yourself with me? I'm going to start paying attention to you. I'm going to start living more in alignment with you. Can you start speaking louder? Because the soul begins to get quieter and quieter and quieter the longer that we ignore it and we subscribe to societal programming and conditioning, which is rooted into literally our root chakra. We're made to believe that the only way we can survive is by succumbing to these rules, by saying like, okay, I agree to these rules. So we have to look at, what are the rules? What are the forms of programming and conditioning that we are subscribing to as being truth? Because they're not the truth. They're not the truth. They're asking me to share this. I'm about to celebrate 5 years of being out of my corporate job. I left my Disney marketing job in February 2018. Yeah, so 5 years in like a week. And I can't tell you how scared I've been so many times about, am I going to make the money that I need in order to live in the way that I want? I've always been provided for. Always. It always works out perfectly. But I would have been made to believe, from not just society, but from people around me, from people that I value their opinion, who are deeply in their conditioning, and coming from a space of love, but also coming from a space of deep conditioning, saying, no, you have to have a job so that you're safe. No, you have to do this thing so that you can save enough money for this and do. So that influence is coming from so many places. And if you're someone who has your own business and like maybe you're a coach or something, like I was just saying, your coaches or the people you highly respect are trust me, some of them are reiterating these rules to you. They're not saying them. So our job is to find energetically, what are the rules that I'm subscribing to about how life is and what I need to do in order to live the life that I want. Because if we just radiate as our pure soul, things magically work out for us. I witness this the more that I align with my soul, and specifically too, and other people. Like, some people, you just look at them and it's like, dude, that person's light. Like activation vibration. I love her vibe so much. Heather Hoffman. She has so much light to her. There are so many people like this. She's just an example because you guys might know who she is. She has so much light. People who carry that sort of light because they're so in alignment with their soul and they don't subscribe to all of these different rules and things that we were just talking about. Life works differently for them. Life works differently when we're in alignment with our soul. So yeah, that's the question. Where can you get rid of those rules? And for the people who haven't yet fully clicked in with their soul blueprint, which you will, the question is, what are the big things? Where do I need to create separation in my life from certain people, places, things, or entities that are not good for me? And for me, that started with my job, because I was like, God, I hate being here. And I had a great job. Like, everybody wants to work at Disney, or a lot of people do. And I was like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I'm good at my job, but this is like, if I died tomorrow, I wasted my time. Spent my whole life going to school and going to college, which was like fun, and doing these jobs that I like. For me, the question there was, would I do this for free? So yeah, okay, that was the next little piece of this. I feel like there's one more thing that wants to come through here. Okay, so there's something about technology. Can you please be more clear in what it is about technology that you're wanting to share? They're saying that it's a two-sided coin. Where this is a question they're posing to everybody. Where in our relationship to technology are we giving up our sovereignty? Where are we giving up our sovereignty? This is another reason that specifically Atlantis is coming in. You guys, my throat just got so itchy. A lot of us have throat chakra issues that relate to Atlantis specifically, because what we were talking about before with there were basically a lot of like science became really, really big in the Atlantean communities, but there were a lot of people who were misusing they weren't in integrity with science, which we also see today. There's a lot of mirror reflections of this. And so with technology, a lot of us are remembering, first of all, how technology can be really phenomenal. So like in Lemuria, there was a lot of technology. Atlanteans saw Lemuria as being, Atlanteans saw themselves as being more superior to Lemurians because they had more advanced technology, but that doesn't mean that it was better. Like in Lemuria, there were technologies where things that we don't have any, like our technology is nowhere close to this, by the way. So there would be technologies that would be harnessing the energy of a crystal, that would be circulating the energy throughout the entire grid of all of the land, circulating energy in through people, circulating the energy that was needed for plants and for animals to thrive and for humans to thrive. There were so many different forms of technology that created harmony and created peace, because these forms of technology were created based on the blueprint of harmony for all beings, harmony for all energies, really. In Atlantis, that was not the base root. It was, how can we advance? How can we advance and get more? And what I'm hearing is like, this was sort of where materialism began. And also, even though Atlantis was much more far up in that age, the astrological ages of time, we hadn't gotten all the way down to like the age of war and conquest yet. Yeah, so Atlantis, the energy behind the technology just wasn't pure. There were some distortions, and then the distortions grew sort of, I'm just seeing like a crack. If there's a crack in something and then it just continues to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, like that's what happened. And so there were different communities of scientists who were in deep integrity, but then it's like there was this sort of like, I'm hearing this as a correlation with police officers. Is that accurate? Yes. Like sometimes there's just groups that are not, or like the foundation of the organization is just rooted in isn't rooted in purity. And so that spreads out. The police officers don't have anything to do with the science piece, but there were groups of scientists who became really power hungry and really identified with ego and with self over. And that it's like this feeding frenzy is just the feeling that I'm getting, like this feeding frenzy of like, I can't have enough. I can't have enough. I can't have enough. Like I'm so hungry for this power. Ew, that's such a gross feeling. Like, let's get that out of my body real quick. And so that tainted everything. And then eventually all of their creations ended up, like Atlantis ended up basically blowing up. And there was, some people say that there was a flood, but I remember it as a deep rumbling and a deep earth shaking, and then just everything's gone like an atomic bomb underneath the ground going off. And there's different things that are said about that, about like different star beings coming in and with bad intentions and like misinforming. But regardless, right now we're remembering the duality that Atlantis sort of brought in to the sphere, or was created at the same time that Atlantis was around. And we're remembering that duality in relationship to technology, and we're going to have to make some corrections. And this starts individually. It starts individually with our own sovereignty. And that's where they started this, right? This third topic. How can we be utilizing technology for the highest good? And then when a technology is created, how can our leaders, how can the people who are around that technology ensure that integrity is maintained in any piece of technology that's being created? Now, this requires that people of higher consciousness are in organizations like the White House, like police systems that we just talked about, like big organizations. Can you imagine if there was like a shaman at the head of Pepsi, or if there was someone with like, this is so much of why I do what I do, because in order for us to live our soul blueprint, it doesn't always mean we're going to have our own business, or like, it also looks like people with high integrity and high consciousness being in these organizations where they get to use their gifts, but they're also influencing deeply. You can already see this in different corporations and industries where, like, for example, with makeup or with skincare, there's a lot of skincare companies now, or hair care companies, that are vegan. They refuse to use, they don't use, what's it called? They're cruelty free. That's brought a huge shift into the industry, where then regular ass cosmetic companies are like, okay, well, maybe now we should do that too, because our competition is doing that. If we can all raise all of these standards, and that might start with your company being waste-free coffee creamer. Like, I don't know. This happens on an individual basis. And I think that, or what the Pleiadians are saying, is that a lot of us, myself included, get scared when we think we're responsible for creating these huge systems, but it's actually small things that all add up together that then force the large systems to change. And eventually many of us will be heads of those systems. And I always say, like with the Akashic records, a lot of, in ancient times, oracles, so I consider myself an oracle, channeling information, seeing things in your blueprint, just like back, like in ancient times also, astrologers and seers would read the destiny of babies that were born, like babies born to kings. They would read the destiny. That's what an oracle is. So in ancient times, oracles were by the side of every big business, every king, every leader, because they knew that the oracle could see things that couldn't be foreseen. So my point in saying that is, like, one, I'm available for hire. Two, or for mentorship for you. Like, this is a huge asset in your life. It cuts off so much, it shaves so much time for you. So you can always book an Akashic record reading with me, or even better, do one-on-one mentorship with me, which is more long-term. I get to see into you and get to know you so much more. And when I say I get to know you, I'm a projector in human design, which means I penetrate your field in a consensual way. But anyways, I fully immerse myself in your field. So I see all of the small aspects of you, which can be intimidating. You might not want somebody to see all of these parts of you. And so the longer I spend with you, the more I'm going to see these intricacies in how you operate. And I can show you, and I show you with love and compassion, and only with seeing your potential and seeing what your destiny is, really. I'm guiding you towards that and seeing these little things in your astral field that's like, let's pull that out. Let's look at this belief. Let's look at this. Let's put you on this fast track here to get you here quicker. How can we enjoy your life more? How can you experience more joy, sensuality, passion, love, abundance, prosperity? That's what I'm doing with my work with people. And so think about, for your work, your soul blueprint, what is it that you are here to do that contributes to this humanitarian consciousness where just like in Lemuria, all beings are benefited. This harms no one. Harmony for all. Harmony for myself and harmony for all. So, okay, that's where I'm hearing them close it off. I feel like this was a successful first Pleiadian channeling. Looked a little different than I thought it was going to look. Let me know if you guys like it, because I feel like this is something that I'm supposed to keep doing, but I'm also like paying attention to how you guys watching receive different things, and how it feels for you. So if you really enjoyed the Pleiadian channeling, like put it in the comments, like the video, like let me know that you really enjoyed it so that I'll keep doing it. That would be really helpful for me, just to kind of get a gauge of like what you're interested in and me sharing here on YouTube. Because it also could be something that I offer in a different capacity, like in a Patreon account or something like that. So yeah, I hope that supports you today. If you have any questions or anything you would like to add in, please put them in the comments. I always love reading your reflections, and I'm happy to answer any questions that, like, if there's something that I feel confident answering for you. And if you want to book any sort of session with me, you can find everything at aliwilkins.com. I do group mentorships, but really I feel my deep gifts are in one-on-one, which my groups are always really small so that I can still keep things one-on-one with you. But I do Akashic record readings. You can buy a package of readings and you'll save some money. You can do one-on-one coaching with me for 3 months, 6 months, or a year. The year is like really the juicy stuff. That's where we get into the depth of you, because I have enough time to do that. If you have any questions, you can always email me, aliwilkinsabundance@gmail.com, or just follow me on Instagram at ali.wilkins, and you can ask me stuff there in the message thing. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week. Bye.